For one Grove running back, running is all he's ever known. As a child, he ran from a life most of us cannot even imagine, and he ran right into the arms of a green country family. It's with them Emmanual Crawford learned to run toward his own potential. This story begins over 18 years ago and 6,000 miles away. Emmanual Crawford was born in Ghana.
I got sold into child slavery at age 3, and I was in it for two years.
Sadly, it's an all too common reality for many children in his hometown. But Emmanuel turned out to be one of the lucky ones, thanks to a man named George.
George Otterbro, which is the guy who's with the organization that helps rescue kids from childhood slavery. They were out on Lake Volta, which is where most of that industry is run with kids. And, you know, they just stumbled upon my canoe or boat that day, and he just felt a tug in his heart, like from the Lord, that, you know, this kid doesn't need to be here. And through the grace of God, I was handed over to them and taken from there to Tema, which is a town in Ghana, where I would stay and, you know, eventually end up meeting my family.
Crawford was put into a home in Tema, sponsored by Touch a Life. It was there that he would meet his new parents, Audrey and Stan Crawford, from Grove, Oklahoma.
When I first met my mom, I mean, I jumped onto her. I just climbed her, and we were best friends from the very beginning.
After months of working to get Emmanuel legally adopted, Audrey was finally able to bring home her now 6-year-old. He became the youngest of 6 Crawford children when he landed in Oklahoma.
My siblings were waiting for me and my dad, and they had this green little stuffed monkey that I still have in my room upstairs. You know, I had my first hamburger that day and fries, and it was heaven on earth.
Once stateside, Crawford got involved in sports, something he'd begun while still living in Ghana.
I said to my friends there that, you know, one day I will wrestle with a white man. And, you know, I think football is a great illustration of that quote. I mean, it just shows that, like, from the very beginning, God had set it in my 6-year-old heart that this wasn't where I was going to be forever.
Little did he know at 6 that he'd go on to set the state record for most career rushing yards in Oklahoma's Class 5A and go on to win the Oklahoma Gatorade Football Player of the Year in 2022.
It's been incredibly special to kind of just relax and sit back and be able to look back at my high school career and my football career starting from 5th grade up until now. I wouldn't trade any of it for anything. I'm just glad that, you know, I'm here and, you know, God blessed me with that.
Despite all that he'd overcome, the history he'd made, trying to get an opportunity at the next level still didn't come easy.
It was kind of frustrating, and I had a lot of stress on me during the football season. I was talking to Vanderbilt, Oklahoma State. I talked to TCU a couple times, and the only camp that I felt like there was a real connection was Arkansas. I had the chance to go on a visit, talk to Sam Pittman and the running backs coach. On the car ride home, I was like, you know, I know where I want to be. I know where I want to spend my college career.
Considering how his life started out, the chance to play SEC football at Arkansas seems hard for even him to put into words.
You know, I think it helps me appreciate what I went through, because I think oftentimes people take for granted what they have. And going through what I went through as a kid, and growing up and being 18 now and looking back, it makes me really appreciative of even the little things.
Do you ever think about what could have been?
Yeah, I definitely do. You know, I would say that it's scary to think about, what if I wasn't here? What if I was still in Africa? And, you know, would I be alive? Would I, you know, what would I be doing right now? And you know, it's a scary thought, but at the same time, it really makes you appreciate that you're here, because it's like, I'm glad that I'm here thinking about what if I was in Africa, and not being in Africa thinking, can life get any worse?
As he's always done since being freed, he's appreciated what he has. The name Emmanuel means God with us. In Crawford's words, Emmanuel is
I would say, a vessel of God, determined, wise, and happy. I would say happy is the biggest thing. You can't do anything good without joy. So, happy would be the word that I would end with.
And just like that, this story that made its way 6,000 miles from Ghana to Grove, from slavery to the SEC, has a happy ending.
What an inspiring story. I love that.
He is, I spent an afternoon with him, and he's one of those people that leaves people and places better than he found them.
You mentioned George in the story. George is the man who saved him in Ghana. Has he stayed in contact with him at all?
He has, actually. George has come over here to visit with him, and he told me that George was able to see how much his life has obviously, improved and how successful Emmanuel's become.
That's going to make George feel pretty good, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does Emmanuel want to go to Ghana and help others?
He does. He's been back a couple times, but he said he wants to go back now that he has this greater appreciation for what he's been through and now what he has and what he has to look forward to.
We're going to be watching him on the football field, right?
Yeah, we're going to see him in the end zones at
the Razorbacks?
the Razorback Stadium. Yeah.
All right, good story. Thanks, Michelle.